Boxing is full of stories where one small thing could have changed and everything would have been different. And I think that's what we're looking at here with Tim Tszyu. If Tim Tszyu would have not got that cut in that first fight with Sebastian Fendor, everything would have been different. It's easy for us to make the assumption that Tim Tszyu would have won that first fight. It's easy for us to start to speculate on what would have happened after that, after having been elevated to that stage. He maybe never even would have took that fight with Murtazaliev. Never would have took it because once he's the champ, he's got other options open to him. Once he's the champ, there's other things that are available. And then what about Fendor? We knew what the story was with him going into that fight with Tszyu. So he goes in there and he loses that fight. And once again, we're talking about all the things that he doesn't do, how he doesn't use the jab, doesn't use his distance and the range and establish things and hold down, control like a man who's 6'6" at 154 pounds should. Everything would have been different. But that's all speculation, and it all exists in an alternative timeline. The one that we're dealing with right here, we saw Tszyu get that cut. We saw him get smoked by Murtazaliev. We saw him go out there and look unimpressive against Spencer. And then we saw him go out there last night and get beaten by Fendor in the rematch. When I made the point that there was a logical argument to be made that Fendor was going to win this fight, I never expected him going out there and just racking up the punches, man. He was tattooing Tim Tszyu with punches. The work rate that he had was incredibly impressive, and the way that he was able to keep Tszyu on the end of his punches, the way that he was able to continually rattle him off. You know, Tszyu was trying to make little adjustments here and there to get by that jab, and Fendor was able to whip that left hand out there every time to answer him. It was good, man. It was good. We really, truly saw Sebastian Fendor grow into his own after that first fight with Tszyu. That was really his maturation process, man. That was really what he needed to step up and become somebody who is a force to be reckoned with. Because before then, he just did not have it. He was not going out there and executing. Everybody was talking about the potential that he had. But for the most part, people had moved past him. They had moved past the potential talk, and they had begun to say, it would have been nice if he should fight like this. What if he would have fought like this? But people had already kind of written it to the side and said, that's not what he's going to do. We can speculate about it. He's not going to fight that way. He's going to fight this way. And since he's going to fight this way, what do you think is going to happen? And he wasn't the man at 154 pounds, not even close. So when he went out there and all of a sudden completely switched it up at this point in his career, reminds me of what we saw with Kenneth Sims Jr. He's got a fight coming up August 2nd, but there was a point midway in his career where all of a sudden he just turned around and just switched gears, changed things, and switched it up and started going out there and fighting at a much, much higher level. But it just goes to reinforce the fact of what we already know, that so much of this game is mental. So much is the psychology. So much is what you go out there and how you fight. All of these dudes got the physical tools to make it happen. You think you make it to a world championship fight without being physically gifted and talented, being able to throw the punches and make all the movements and do all of those things? It's all about what you do up here. Do you understand how to do everything? And can you tell your body how to execute in the moment to make these things go out there and happen? And Sebastian Fendor can do it now. As far as Tim Tszyu is concerned, I don't know, man. A big part of me wants this dude to just like go back to Australia, fight one or two going away fights, retirement fights, and then call it a day. Because I think he's done at the world class level. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say it as though it's funny. I don't say it like it's clickbait or something silly like that. But look at what happened. Look at what happened. Look at the beating that he took from Murtazaliev. Those were some nasty shots. Didn't even see him coming. He was really hurt. Goes out there and fights against Spencer. And again, does not look good, man. He won that fight, but he didn't look good. When you look at the skills that it takes to be at the world-class level, as far as your head movement, your footwork, your jab, controlling the distance, how you get your combinations and your punches off, your punch selection, what you do for problem solving, and the way that you handle certain little obstacles that come up. And then you saw that fight tonight. Oh, and I get it. Fendor was a juggernaut, man. Dealing with him would have been tough, but I didn't see Tszyu able to make the necessary adjustments to make it happen. The only time that I saw Tszyu really start to see some success was beginning of the fourth round, if I remember correctly. And that was because he was able to get close. You look at their feet. Their feet were very close at the beginning of that round and throughout. And I think it was just because Fendor started to slow down a little bit. He was starting to absorb a little bit of punishment. He was starting to slow down. He was throwing, 100 punches per round or something crazy like that. So he was starting to feel the fatigue a little. So Tszyu was able to get closer. And when he got closer, he was able to start getting his punches off. And you think, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe this is where Tszyu was able to turn it around. He's able to start getting off a little bit and landing his shots. But then Fendor was able to crank it back up like he caught his second win. And all of a sudden, before Tszyu quits, we see him in the corner just getting pummeled with shots. And they weren't the hardest punches, but I mean, he was getting hit with so many of them, man. And I didn't like his defensive movements. Every now and then, he'd be using head movement, and he would use head movement to pull him out of range. He would get into range with a punch, and then he wouldn't follow up. You want to discourage a man from throwing the jab. You want to take that jab away. You got to do so aggressively, and he wasn't going quick enough. He wasn't getting off on, having a hair trigger in the way that he was letting that right hand go. He was getting off the center line slightly when he would throw a punch, and then he would get back onto the center line instead of staying off of it and pivoting, circling, rotating, trying to work the angles and get Fendor turning, trying to move to his left to get away from Fendor's left hand. I don't know, man. He wasn't doing any of those things. And the few times that we did see him do them, he certainly wasn't doing them enough. So I think Tszyu's got to walk away from it, man. I think he goes out. Like I said, he's an incredibly popular in Australia. He's a really good guy, and a lot of people like him. I would watch the fight for sure, but no more world-class fights. No more. I don't think the answer is to take a year off or two off and kind of recuperate and come back. I think the flaws that we saw in Tszyu's style have now been exposed. You combine that with the psychology that he's got to have now, the mental makeup and the lack of confidence that he's got to have and the lack of belief in what he's able to do and his ability to eat the shots. You look at the way guys have probably at this point, they could argue that they figured him out and the way to fight him and the things that they're going to be able to go do. I don't want to see that man get beat up. I don't want to see him all of a sudden turn around and he's 50 years old and he's slurring his speech because all of a sudden he starts taking all of this punishment. The dude had a good career. He did a lot of things. Go back to Australia, fight one more fight for the people that love you of your home country because they're going to be over there and they're going to want to see you. They ain't going to want to sit there and know that your last fight was getting stopped in Las Vegas. Go back home, fight that fight, generate all the buzz, go out on top, and go out because this one's too much. So let me know what you guys think. Am I being too pessimistic about this? Am I just like, I don't know, going into this fight, I had handicapping it. I watched the old ones. So it's like it's all really recent in my memory of watching this dude get the cut, getting smoked by Murtazaliev, and then all of a sudden this last night.